Ogajige Higanen Indishnakas, Magazine Dodam, Mississauga and Dal, New Credit Dunji. Welcome to the traditional territory of the Mississaugas for the credit, and the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the credit. We also acknowledge the footsteps of those of our ancestors and the other ancestors whose footprints have walked upon this land, namely the Huron-Wyandot, the Seneca, the mighty Métis Nation, let's go over there. Jibwani Banda. Before we fall asleep and forget. Abindagego Anakwingaba. Abindagego. The fire has been lit and the doorway is open. We give thanks for the Creator who created all. We give thanks for our Mother, the Earth, who sustains us and under her direction still nourishes and protects us. We give thanks to the eastern doorway that the sun comes up and protects us throughout the day. We give thanks to the southern doorway so that we remember that the green is always there with that cedar. We give thanks to the western doorway so that we remember where we go when our time on this earth is over. And we give thanks to the north and we give thanks Makadeshigan, the dark side of life, that it stays far from our ceremonies, far from our families, and far from our lives. With this, we acknowledge and give thanks for the people of Toronto, that we send out that gift and that greeting and that healing that comes with the smudge that we light here today. May we enjoy our life and remember everything that is connected, and everything is combined to help us to sustain this time of duress, this time of death, that it fades as our fire slowly goes out. Slowly does it burn the sickness from out of our lives. Miigwech and Yahweh. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Anin bojo, sego, tanse, kwekwe, kinawea, mijikeyan dodem, shkoden nigan wa waskonen, Indishnakas, Shawanaga Dunjaba, Anishinaabe, Kwe, Ojibwe, and Dao. I bring you greetings in the traditional language of my people, the Anishinaabe Nation, and I'm so happy to be here in this new age where we are using a virtual format to share and celebrate National Indigenous Day. As we travel through these times of COVID and we try to figure out ways to honor and celebrate each other and indeed our treaty partners, I'm really honored to be the person to share with you on this day a water teaching and a strawberry teaching. I am known as Shkoden Nigan Wawaskonen, head or leader of the fire flower. I come from Shawanaga First Nations and I identify as Ojibwe and Potawatomi in my background. And I have prepared for this celebration, this virtual celebration, as best I can. So I'm going to start off with a smudge. And in this smudge, I want to honor each and every one of my relatives. And the territory that this ceremony is being hosted from, which belongs to the Mississaugas of the Credit, who are Anishinaabe relatives. And I give them thanks for continuing to honor their traditional and treaty lands in a good way, with a good heart and a good mind. I've been given tobacco on this day, which I have here, to prepare for this sharing. And I sincerely hope that you, my relatives, receive this virtual smudge. In our teachings, when we conduct ceremony and we remember who we are and where we come from, it's really, really important that we honor life. And those life teachings for us come from this, nebe, the drinking water, nabish. This is the word we use for water. And water is a woman's teaching. And in our Anishinaabe circles, we have been taught that we need to speak for the water in ceremony. And so that's what I'm hoping to do with you today. I have my water in my little copper cup here. And I want to honor the waters that are above, below, and within us. The waters in the four cardinal directions. The waters that continue to sustain and maintain who we are as beings on this planet. And when I think about that and when I talk about that, I'm starting from the first order of creation, and I'm thinking about the sands, the soils, the clays, the gravels, the rocks, the stone beings, and the mountains. These are the most ancient beings on earth. They are the ones who hold the earth together. And they are the ones who hold all the stories, the songs, the teachings that have ever been told, shared, or sang. And so when we think about this and we think about their life force, we know that they are old, ancient teachers, and so we refer to them as grandmothers and grandfathers. And so in the sharing of this water ceremony, I want to acknowledge those beings. When it comes to the grasses, the shrubs, the trees, the bushes, the hardwoods, the softwoods, the berries, the hanging fruits, and all of the medicines, I've been taught this is the second order of creation, and these are the life source that sustain our bodies when we're not well, help to heal us, help to fill our bellies when we're not well, help us to have protection from the elements, and indeed medicines to conduct our ceremonies and honor those that have gone on before us, those that are here now, and those that will come long after us. So when we think about this, again, I take this nibit, this water, and I honor those beings. We get to the third order of creation, the swimmers, the crawlers, the flyers, the two-leggeds, the four-leggeds, those that live up in the sky world, and those that live beneath the earth. These are our clan brothers and sisters. They are our teachers, they're our relatives, they are food sustenance, they are companions. And so it makes sense that on this day, with this beautiful Nibe, we would bring our hearts and minds together and give them greetings and thanks. I also want to acknowledge the men, the women, and the children, the Kwewag, the Niniwag, the Benojiag, that have ever been, that are here now, and that are on their way. When we look at our relatives, our human relatives, and we acknowledge who they are and, the celebration of this day, we are all part of one race, the human race. But on this day, we celebrate the original peoples of this land. And so I want to honor the ancestors. I want to acknowledge the teachers and the elders and the communities across this vast country in a good way, with a good heart and a good mind. And so again, I will take this Nibe and think about that in my prayers. As is customary, if we've said anything that has offended you, we apologize. I apologize. If there's something that I've forgotten, I invite you at this time to add your own thoughts and your own words, and to remember that we are all together in the process of celebrating and practicing the traditions of the past in the best way possible. So I'm going to offer a song. This is the water song that comes from Bidasage Naba, that beautiful grandmother water walker who reminded us that water is life. And when we celebrate who we are, we need to honor our lives. So I will sing to the eastern direction, the southern direction, the western direction, and the northern direction. And in that time, I will be offering prayers through song medicine. If you know the song at this time, I invite you to sing it with me. If you don't know the song, you can Google it and you can learn it as well. But this is a song that she's asked for everybody to learn, to sing, and to translate into all of the many languages that are spoken across our vast island, Turtle Island. So at this time, I offer this song, and I invite you, if you're able, to join me. Nebe gizoge higo Gimi gwechuwe nemego Gijowe nemego 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 I invite you to take a drink. That water ceremony is one that we have conducted for time immemorial, and we have resurrected that practice. And it's done by water walkers, both male and female, young and old alike, and with our allies. So I encourage you to remember that ceremony and to get involved, to go and thank the waters, to go and respect the waters, to go and give love to the waters. The words in the song, water we love you, water we thank you, and water we respect you, gives you guided action on ways that you too at this time can get involved with the life force that connects us all. When we do ceremony, we always celebrate the unseen world, which is just as real as the physical world we're in. And so in doing that, we share a feast. And that feast is one that involves ceremonial foods. And one of the most important foods, especially at this time of year in Odemin Gizes, strawberry moon. That is the calendar year for us Anishinaabe people around the Great Lakes region. Odemin Gizes, strawberry moon, is the time when those beautiful berries, those heart berries, arrive and are harvested. And that harvest takes place all over the region. And I have some strawberries here today that I have brought for this ceremony. And we always give a little bit of a teaching about that, and we make an offering. We make an offering of these to the spirit world. And we do that by placing it in our smudge bowls, or we bury it in the earth. But we want to feed the ancestors first, because these ceremonies wouldn't be here without our ancestors. And so we try to honor them in a good way by remembering to bring the berries. And in our teachings, strawberries and blueberries are the heads of the berries. And we're going to focus on strawberries today. And there are many teachings connected to strawberries. In the teachings that I have received, I need to honor those teachings. And so I will speak about one teaching today. While you may have other teachings about this, I encourage you to embrace all the ways of knowing that exist across our great island, and to join me in the learning and the teaching that I have learned about this particular berry. So we know that strawberries, when you cut them lengthwise, they look like a heart. And I have a couple here that are cut, and you might be able to see that heart shape in the berry itself. Kind of hard to see, I think, on camera, but nonetheless, the name for the heart berry, Ode is heart, Min is berry. Ode Min is what we call these berries. There's many stories about how they came to be and where they came from. And it's said that long ago there were two brothers, and they used to love to wrestle. They'd wrestle all the time. And their mother said to them, boys, you need to settle down. You need to stop this. One day, one of you guys is going to get hurt. We have work to do, so let's get at it. And they would hang their heads and say, yes, Mom, and follow her along and pretend like they weren't wrestling anymore. But what they did was they took it into a secret place far out in the bush, found a clearing there, and as they grew bigger and stronger, they continued to wrestle, always trying to best the other. And one day they were wrestling, and one of the brothers managed to put the other one down on the ground, and he was so happy with himself. And his brother, who was laying on the ground, laid there for a long time. He looked at his brother and said, come on, get up, let's go, I won. And his brother didn't move. He shook his brother and he said, brother, wake up. And he noticed that his brother was as still as could be. What had happened was his brother had fallen on the ground. He'd hit a rock, and he passed away instantly. And with great remorse and great shame, that brother cried many, many tears and buried his brother in a spot only he knew about. And he went home. And after he went home, his mother said, hey, where's your brother? And he said, I don't know, I wasn't with him today. And he kept his secret, but he went back to visit his brother every day. And every time he went, he cried many tears. Those tears hit the earth all around his brother. And he begged forgiveness. And he apologized again and again. He was filled with so much shame and so much sadness. He never told his family. But one day when he was visiting his brother, he noticed something different about the space where he had placed his brother. He noticed these things growing around the earth where his brother was buried. There were these shiny green leaves, jagged, and peeking out from underneath them were these little red things. And he took a look at them. And he said, well, what is this? And he picked one. And when he picked it, he rolled it around in his hand, and he popped it into his mouth. And he tasted the sweetness of forgiveness. This was a gift of forgiveness. And so to this very day, we tell this story in different versions about how the strawberry came to be. But in ceremonies, strawberries also represent that male energy that comes to our ceremonies. So the teachings I received about it is strawberries have their seeds on the outside like males. And like males, it is their job to take care of fire, so it's red like fire. And so when we look at these, we look at the balance and harmony of strawberries and blueberries together, because blueberries represent that female energy, and like females, they have their seeds on the inside. And so when we eat these and when we share these with the spirit world, with our relatives that have gone on before us, we consider it a feast and honoring. And so at this time, on National Indigenous Day, when we are celebrating O-Day-Mingizes as well, and solstice, I invite you to have strawberries, to eat strawberries, to maybe share that story and remember just one of the many teachings that are available about these beautiful feast food berries, these ceremonial berries. So I'm going to pop one in my mouth, and I'm going to offer to Spirit first. And if we were in person, I'd be offering one to you as well. I want to thank you for listening on this day to some of the ceremonial practices of our great nations that are indeed celebrating across the country National Indigenous Day. We always try to share in a good way with a good heart and a good mind. And these berries come from our mother, the earth. Mashkikami kwe. Mashkiki is medicine, and kwe is the female form. So we talk about the earth as our mother. She gives life to everything that exists as life on the planet, including her lifeblood, which is the water. And so I want to honor her in closing, and I want to offer the Strong Woman Song. This is a song that's sung across Turtle Island, and it's a song I want to offer as a closing gift for this brief teaching that I've been so honored and privileged to share with you today. I want to thank you for listening and participating. I want to sincerely wish each and every one of you a happy National Indigenous Day, and encourage you as both settler allies and Indigenous communities alike to reclaim and relearn your history if you don't know it, but to celebrate this day, celebrate all those who've gone on before us, all of those that are here now, and indeed all of those who are yet to come. This is the Strong Woman Song. I have my dwagan with me, my drum. And I'm going to send it to the 4 cardinal directions, because wherever we go, there are strong women who brought us here, strong women that will come along after us, and so many strong women that came before us. But the most important strong woman I want to think about today is Mashkikimikwe, our Earth Mother. Miigwech Kinawea, Miigwech, my relatives, thank you so much for listening and sharing with me on this day. I want to send greetings and celebration wishes to each and every one of you for National Indigenous Day, and hope that you find ways to learn about the First Peoples of these lands, and that you continue to participate and support us in our ceremonies and celebrations. Bamampi, Gigawamin Minawa, till I see you again.
Before I begin with the official welcoming, I just want to begin by saying that I miss Toronto, the people, the events, and I'm looking forward to coming back for a visit very soon. Ani, Buzu, Nagani Anishnawbe Kanini, Stacey Laforme Disnakas, Credit Dunjiba, Mainga Dodom, Mississauga Anishnawbe Dowell. I'd like to acknowledge the Creator of the world around us and our place within it. I'd like to acknowledge the many nations that walked this land in the past, the many nations that walk it today, and welcome you to the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of Anishinaabe. I am honored to bring welcome words on behalf of the Mississaugas. This is a difficult time for everyone, made worse so because of the racism and discrimination that is a large part of our world. My people fight for our place in Canada every day, from poverty and discrimination, missing and murdered women, suicides, theft of our children. It is a struggle for us, and we will prevail because we must. Yet I never forget that we are not the only ones struggling with violence and hate in Canada and the world. I will always stand and support my brothers and sisters who struggle in a world that doesn't embrace diversity. I shudder to think of a world where we are all the same. Uniqueness and diversity are how we grow, how we become better tomorrow than we are today. We need to be heard. You see, the voice that is prominent across this world is one of isolation and fear. It teaches hate and contempt. If we allow it to be the only voice, then soon there will be no room for any other voices. We must stand, and our voice of unity and inclusiveness must be heard. We cannot be silent. We must show the people of this world that there is a stronger voice that must be heeded, one of unity and love. It is a challenging time in our world. Never has it been more apparent that all things are connected and that we need each other. I want to leave you with what I consider a fitting poem for the times that we are in. My wish is to see you stand as one, to support one another through the good and the bad. Do not let jealousy or past issues cloud your reason. Do not let small-mindedness stop you. Do not let loss and grief overwhelm you. It is so easy to be divided by pain and hurt. Yet it is the time to stand together, to love one another. Faced with horror, do not become a part of it. Rather, rise above it with the strength of your ancestors. Let the children see you as you wish to be seen. Stand in the light in the darkest moment, and you will leave a legacy beyond wealth or power. You will leave a world full of hope. And hope is the brightest star and our best possible future. It is not enough to share knowledge anymore. We must change consciousness. Be heard, be safe, Miigwech and Bamapi.
Hello, Mayor John Tory here. Good morning, everyone. Sego, Ani, Tonsi, Tonshi, I. I want to thank and recognize Indigenous leaders and community members who are coming together with us virtually for the Sunrise Ceremony and National Indigenous Peoples Day. I'm honored to bring remarks for this important ceremony. On behalf of my colleagues on City Council, I extend greetings to everyone celebrating National Indigenous Peoples Day. Every year we gather to celebrate and to reflect and to learn more about the unique culture and accomplishments and knowledge of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. In addition to celebrating this day with you, earlier this month I proclaimed June as National Indigenous Month for the first time in Toronto. National Indigenous Month provides us with an opportunity to celebrate Indigenous heritage and diversity and vibrant culture while acknowledging and reflecting on the achievements of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. Certainly this year is like no other in many different ways, and we're experiencing many firsts together. Since we're unable to gather together on Nation Philip Square for the sunrise ceremony, one of my very favorites every year is we sit in the tranquility of the city and watch the sunrise and hear some very, very important thoughts from some of our First Nations and Inuit and Indigenous peoples. We're holding our first virtual celebration for National Indigenous Peoples Day. It was important that we continue this tradition, and so I'm very pleased that we can do this. And I want to take the time to acknowledge the impact that COVID-19 has had on Indigenous communities. You know, this is a very small thing that we weren't able to have this ceremony on Nathan Phillips Square, but if you look across Canada and even in our own city of Toronto, Indigenous people have suffered, but at the same time they've demonstrated incredible resilience when facing this pandemic. I also want to acknowledge the tremendous work being done by Indigenous organizations to support the community. I think of Anishinaabe Health Toronto, for example, and numerous organizations that are part of the Toronto Aboriginal Support Services Council. These services are vital every single day of the year, but even more so now. And it's important that we all continue to learn and to grow. And I want to encourage everyone to celebrate and to learn and to support Indigenous communities. There are many simple things we can do, like, for example, learn about the land acknowledgement and its significance. Learn about Indigenous history and the current vibrant cultures and languages of Indigenous peoples in Toronto. Support Indigenous businesses and services. Read Indigenous books and watch films. I would like to reinforce our city's commitment to advancing truth and reconciliation. Thank you to the Aboriginal Affairs Committee, Councillor Mike Layton representing the City Council there. It provides advice and recommendations to the whole City Council. As well, our Indigenous Affairs Office has been doing great work over the past 2 years, leading and guiding us on how we can advance truth and reconciliation, building on previous actions. And we remain committed to doing the work that needs to be done as we move through our understanding and commitment to truth and reconciliation and to some of the issues that have come to the fore even more recently but have been there for a long time, dealing with anti-Indigenous racism. I would like to convey my deep appreciation to the Indigenous employees of the city and their allies. The city values the contributions of the Indigenous community in Toronto, both historically, today, and going forward. And the city will continue to build trust and respect and friendship. We have to earn that trust and respect. I understand that with our Indigenous communities in the city. I would now like to present and read today's proclamation. Because it is important as something that symbolizes the City Council and my personal commitment as Mayor to these communities and to this very special day. Whereas the City of Toronto acknowledges the rich culture and heritage and achievements of First Nations, Inuit and Métis peoples in Canada. The City of Toronto recognizes the inherent rights of Indigenous peoples as the original inhabitants of the land now known as Toronto. Through this acknowledgement, the City of Toronto underlines that the fundamental strength of our community lies in our unique racial, ethnocultural, and Indigenous diversity. In 2015, the City of Toronto endorsed the calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada and called upon the federal and provincial governments to adopt the calls to action. In 2018, the City of Toronto established its first Indigenous Affairs Office, dedicated to supporting city divisions in their work with First Nations, Inuit and Métis peoples and all urban Indigenous communities. The office strives to strengthen the city's relationship with Indigenous communities and to advance reconciliation. I want to thank the Indigenous leaders and community members I've recently spoken with about the significant impact the pandemic has had on their lives and on their communities. I am committed to working with all Indigenous peoples in a meaningful way to help address their needs related to this pandemic. Toronto City Council and the people of Toronto are committed to creating an inclusive society. Our multicultural and multilingual communities contribute to our city's motto, diversity is our strength. Now, therefore, I, Mayor John Tory, on behalf of the Toronto City Council, do hereby proclaim June 21st, 2020 as Indigenous Peoples Day in the City of Toronto. In closing, I will say thank you in Anishinaabe by saying miigwech. Have a wonderful rest of the day today Indigenous Peoples Day in the City of Toronto.
We're here today in Nathan Phillips Square to celebrate National Indigenous Peoples Day here in the City of Toronto. You know, the city's come a long way in advancing our efforts towards reconciliation and ensuring that we follow through on our statement of commitment to Indigenous people living in the City of Toronto. I'm proud of the steps we've made in advancing things like our Indigenous employment strategy to ensure that there are more Indigenous people working for the City of Toronto and that those employees can advance based on their skills and interest into senior management positions. We've also invested in Indigenous entrepreneurship with a new center to help those Indigenous businesses advance and grow in the City of Toronto. We've tried to create a community of practice at the City of Toronto that celebrates and is inclusive of Indigenous teachings and traditions in our own operations. And we've created a training program for staff, both senior and frontline workers, to ensure that they understand the Indigenous history of Toronto, as well as the contemporary contributions of Indigenous people to this city. And finally, we've also worked at advancing other efforts towards reconciliation, like looking at Indigenous placemaking in the City of Toronto in our parks and other public spaces. And that includes here in Nathan Phillips Square, where we've worked with Council Fire to develop a new structure and plan for space in this square to be dedicated to reconciliation. I'm proud of those steps, but there's still so much more that we can do together as a city. I look forward to the days ahead when we can once again return to that work and ensure that we're doing our best to address issues of reconciliation, racism against the Indigenous community, and all take steps on the path towards a common understanding of our history and our path forward together. Thank you. Miigwech.
Bonjour, on the way, Maganaduk, keeping Anishinaabe We are the Black Bull Moose Singers, and today we're going to be singing an honor song in honor of the National Indigenous Day. This song is also to honor our brothers and sisters and our ancestors who have walked the land here before us. We sing this song to honor all the Indigenous peoples across Turtle Island and honor our brothers and sisters who also are non-Indigenous. We honor those relationships that we have with them. So the song is for everybody, and the song is to remember that today is a very special day. Hope.
Well,